Peace and blessings, everybody. I'm Jesse out of Houston, and I want to share my unleavened bread recipe with everyone. First, we'll start off with 2 cups of unbleached flour. I believe I got this one from Walmart. Ground cinnamon. You can pretty much find this at any grocery store. I use 2 heaping scoops, which is just 2 bigger scoops than a tablespoon. We'll use brown sugar, and I use about 4 heaping scoops of brown sugar. You can add more or less of the cinnamon or the sugar for flavor, basically making it sweeter or less sweet. I've started adding about a tablespoon of natural sea salt. What it does is, if it doesn't have enough sweetness, it actually still gives it flavor. And the same way, if it's too sweet, it actually cuts it down a little bit, so you're not really making it like a sweet bread. What we'll do is, when we start off with our 2 cups of flour, we'll put it into a mixing bowl. And then we'll come with the cinnamon and the sugar and the salt. We'll mix it very well to where there's no more clumps, that it's mixed very well, it's very smooth. We'll leave that alone. We'll go to the type of butter I use is the Land O'Lakes, and the reason why I use it, it's already cut to 4 tablespoons is what we'll be using. You can add more, you can add less. And this brand is kind of better than the other ones that I've ever tried. We'll put it into a small bowl or pot onto the stove and let it melt. As it melts, we will add 3/4 cup of milk to the butter and remove it from the stove. As soon as the butter melts, we'll add the milk and remove it from the stove. You stir it really well, pour it into the bowl, and we're going to start mixing. I use a fork instead of a whisk. You can use your hand, but you'll be going back and forth, touching other things. So I'll use a fork, and if it's too dry, you can add just very, very little milk, because you'll see that just very little bit will make the dough very, very tacky. If it's too dry, or if it's too tacky, then we're gonna get a cup of extra flour for shifting. You'll put that onto the dough, and we'll start kneading it. And as we work the dough, you'll find out that it's very, very tacky. So we'll make sure that we'll have extra flour in here using the 1 cup, and we'll start to work the dough to where you can actually handle it, to where it's not sticking to your hand, to your fork, to the bowl, or anything else. We'll let that sit for about 30 minutes to heal. And then what we'll do is, once it's healed and we're ready to actually start rolling, you want to get about a palm-sized piece, just about that big, and you'll feel that it's kind of tacky, and you can roll it around into the flour, and then we can start working the dough. What you want to do is you want to put it in the ball first, and just lightly rolling, and then you keep one hand flat and lightly squeeze with the other, and we're almost going to make it look like a biscuit. And at this point, it doesn't have to be flat, just you don't want it circle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lightly just roll it out. This is what one will look like. I'm going to set that on the grill while we roll this one out. This is pretty much what it looked like. Not all mine come out perfect circles. It's kind of hit and miss. And as we're cooking it on the grill, you want the grill to be a very medium low heat. You don't want it super high. You don't want it too low. What would happen if you put it too high is that it'll cook the bread too fast and it'll actually burn it. And it'll make you crispy, so if you try to eat it the next day, it's going to be very, very hard to eat. So as you see it start to cook, you'll see that some of it will change colors to where it's lighter, darker. You don't want to cook one side fully and then go to the next side to cook it fully. We want to flip it. So that what that's going to do is that's going to make it cook evenly all the way through, and you're not going to burn your bread, and it'll actually be soft and almost like eating it fresh tomorrow, or however long you decide to keep it. You can keep it in the refrigerator, you can keep it in a bread box for a couple of days. There's really nothing to it, so it'll last no problem for a couple of days. Kind of like a tortilla, you see it start to bubble up. We just want to flip it as it cooks. This is something very good. You can have it for the Passover. You can have it for your Sabbath classes. You can have it for your daily convocation as just for a communion. And this is pretty much what the finished product will look like. It's basically all of them the same, cooked all the way through. My children love them. Every time I make them, they basically eat half of them before we even get to put any back up for later. But again, my name is Jesse out of Houston. This is my recipe for unleavened bread. I hope you brothers and sisters can use this, make it your own, add something to it, tag me back to how you make yours, and we can share recipes. Again, Jesse out of Houston. Peace and blessings, everyone.